It's another brief moment in time. We get to see the change on the sidelines. We're shifting, twisting bits of technology, shifting, lifting up the little bits of reality. While the train trips through the space-time, we're surely a randomly sparking the photons around me. Let the light flow from the heat show when the photons ignite, highlighting yo. Then you'll know it's that time when we force a change in our mind's eye. Ho ho! A little bit Linux with something in us. It's almost like we something else, autonomous, or maybe perhaps it's that missing piece you need. Perhaps it's that simple message you're searching. Perhaps it's just a different time framing. Us people match the fake shoe in the mainframe. Getting excited, so are the photons. Don't laminate so we can change the coupon. Let me raise the hash rate, so make the coupon fake and replace the rate with my major bags. Crypto technology, like cryptographic money and hashing your life into a set of QRs. It doesn't matter, cause this was 3D change perspective. Yay! I go to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
What up, everybody? And yes, welcome to the show. I'm your host, 3D, and hopefully today I'm going to change your perspective. Well, of course, about Rumble Studio. That's right, the first time I heard someone tell me, nah, brah, you have to use Rumble Studio to get the full experience, to get the real experience for Rumble, I was completely disagreed. I was like, bro, I'm already using the multi-stream, I'm already using this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I honestly thought I had it figured out, understood. I thought I knew it all. I thought it was there, ready to go. Turns out I had not a clue what I was really talking about. When I say that, I do mean there was a lot to be learned from this experience. It was quite, and I mean that, quite a bit of stuff I did not have a clue was trapped inside this Rumble that really is there. Now, I am also in the middle right now of getting our chat set up. Hopefully, I can actually get this to work out this time. But I do want to go into, I guess, the run-in, spill-in of everything else. So, like I said, I wanted to change what you think of Rumble. And today we're going to go over specifically Rumble Studio. Because we already talked about Rumble itself. Well, about Rumble itself, yeah. And it wasn't too bad of any situation. And if anything, we saw a lot of the same stuff we see everywhere else. Now, with Rumble Studio, I'm going to thankfully be able to say it's not exactly the same as everywhere else. I got that one. Okay. Alright, so I also want to tell you that I'm going to go over as many features as possible that I can. So I'm going to go over literally as many of these features throughout everything that I can find. I'm going to hopefully give it to you today. Hopefully that's working. Alright, I'm not seeing something appear on my screen like it should be. So I apologize for me rumbling and rambling about random stuff real quick to myself. Yeah, it looks like we might not be able to see the chat after all. Let me test this real fast because there it is. Hey, oh, yo, did you know? No, I really did not see that one coming. Okay, this one is not working. So it looks like the Twitter chat is the only one not cooperating with me today. And that's fine. We'll work with that one another time. Okay. I want to thank The Organized for teaming up today with Bitcoin Live and Digital Broadcast. Now, they didn't actually do it today, but today I want to thank them for teaming up with Bitcoin Live, Digital Broadcasting DB, because Bitcoin Live DB and The Organized is a powerhouse combo. I see new heights for both organizations. Now, if you haven't checked out The Organized early morning broadcast for stacks and other topics, please go ahead. They're taking off every day with new and more viewers every day, so see what they have to say. And find them on X, Twitter, among other social platforms. It's really awesome. Now, I also want to thank today's sponsor. Of course, you knew it was going to happen. I want to thank Shieldfolio for sponsoring today's episode from within the Quantum Bit, as well as the Bitcoin Live DB network. Now, if you haven't seen Shieldfolio, they are like a little black book that are made from stone paper, and they are fade resistant, tear resistant, even water resistant. So you know the info and secrets you store in your Shieldfolio will last and survive whatever you throw at it. I personally have a Shieldfolio, and I use it for my website. Info, contacts, crypto keys, among other things. So it's like a little black book that are pocket sized, ready to be by your side, regardless of your venture in real life or online. And dead serious, I actually do love these little books. They are insanely good. And now there are other product and stuff that they are offering now on their website. So use the QR in the middle of the screen. Also, I have one on the bottom of the screen throughout the whole episode. You can scan it at any point in time, visit their website, and use that little code right there, Bitcoin Live 20, to get 20% off your order today when you order from their website. Alright, thank you again, Shieldfolio. Now we're going to go in with the roll-ins because, you know, that is how we do. And thank you again, Shieldfolio, for sponsoring today's episode. Now, I did mention it, the Twitter chat did not work right. I'm going to try right this second, as I'm talking, to reinstate it. And okay, you can see YouTube back up. Let's drop the sponsor. Thank you again, Shieldfolio. Scan the QR at any point in time to visit them. And I do think there's the product they're actually talking about is actually really good. Hold on. Twitter is working. It's doing its thing. All right. Popping the live back up. Give me the pop out chat. No. Oh, hello. Hey. We got it. All right. Sorry about that. We did not have that working at all last time, so I'm really happy to get working this time. All right, so welcome to the photon of the greater fourth dimension quantum machine. And I love saying that because it's a weird thing to be able to say, for the simple fact that we are going to be talking about something that most people would never consider third dimensional or in reality in the actual physical space. So we're talking about something in digital space, and I love calling that the fourth dimension of the greater proton, or the quantum machine also. So what we're looking at right here is basically throughout all of today's episode, we're going to give you a little QR. It's going to be either that one or it's going to be this one. And at either one, it doesn't matter. When you see them pop up, that allows you to scan it and follow along throughout the entire episode, no matter where we're at, what we're talking about. If there's a direct link for you available, it will be given at some point, either the beginning or the end of that section of presentation. So now, for example, I'm using the Organized YouTube page to just kind of point out how to use this. And they do this. This is the people who I'm talking about. They go live almost every morning, every evening to check out, see what they're doing daily, and see what's popping. Now, I do like to give everybody a free pre-search query, and today's free pre-search query is Rumble Studio payment hacks, because payments is one of the few things I'm not actually going to go over. It's the You're not going to see that coming out of today. I am going to do some stuff or talk about some things that could involve you getting paid, but I'm not going to be talking about the monetization system or the money system. And we will actually explain kind of why later in the episode. We'll get to a point where I'll have the opportunity to show you something that will or should explain it all for me in a 1, 2, 3 punch. And I think it's presented by Rumble Studio, so I think it's best given by them. And again, I did not use any of the links in this research query for today's episode. So if you come after today's episode and you want to check out more information about Rumble Studio hacks or whatever, this might be able to help you get there. And yeah. Alright, now we're actually going to get into today's episode. I have a lot to say because there is a lot going on in Rumble Studio. So here is Rumble Studio. Now keep in mind, I've already signed in with my Rumble account, and yes, I have taken time out to test, try, attempt, play with things, do stuff, and we have stuff set up and ready for you, all ready to go in here. Now, hold on a second, I'm just now realizing I don't have a link up here that should be up here. Alright. Right here. Boom. There it is. So, this right here is today's episode's GitHub page. We'll talk about more about this later. I just want to go ahead and give you a copy of this right here, right now. Is some of the stuff that we made and prepared for today's episode is available right inside these little things. So the only thing I really want to explain now, while I have the opportunity, is that anytime you go to any of these inside the 3D Change Perspectives repo, when you go into a specific episodes section, and they have other files, those folders inside that section is for specifically those. Like these are specifically audios. Like if I click in here, we go to the audio, we see there's an actual audio and a readme. And then if we go back and I click in graphics, you'll see there are actual graphics, but also there are other ones, like other folders. So these folders inside here are sets of these things. Like if I click on info cards, these are a set of info cards. So that is kind of how this is read. Each grouping is just, another grouping, and eventually you get to a point where it's just a final grouping. And where that is going to be different for all of them. Like for example, if we're going to overlays, it's the last one. While we were, graphics, there's multiples, right? And for like in tier slider, thankfully there's no. I thought there was more now. Okay, so sometimes there might be more, but anyways, here's where you get it. Here's where it's at, and this is basically just to help you guys. And I think the only thing that's like super useful out of all of this is I wanted to make sure you guys had one really specific stupid thing that we're going to be using in today's episode, and that is these zone headers. So in case you want specifically this, here you go. Here is a thing that is going to basically allow you to determine where to put graphics in manners to where we'll explain. There's stuff that overlaps depending on if you're using dynamic overlays and how you do your overlays. So this is just another way to assist you in fine-tuning where to put stuff. Okay. Now, here is Rumble Studio. So this is home, this is Rumble Studio. You go to Rumble Studio, or it's studio.rumble.com. It's the main website. And then you log in with Rumble. Boom, here you are. So this is the main splash screen, like the entry to Rumble Studio. And on this page, you can kind of begin or prepare a stream. Like you see right here, it says Studio Stream, it says Schedule Stream, Premiere Video. And as you go down, we can see there's more to do here. Like I can check out other stuff. I can see how long stuff is. We can edit some information and clip and download all right here. I can go to clips, and you'll see this is one of the few areas I have none. But don't worry, it is what it is. Okay, you get clips over time, all right, and you'll slowly clip them. You can see, like right here, there's a little button, like on the side. Like I can probably see it. So see how there's like a little button, flipping or editing or trimming. I'm not sure which. There's also download, change the image. So there's a lot of information. I can also watch it right here, right? So a lot of stuff available here, and that's basically all this main page is. This is where you normally go to begin something, like you want to get going in it. The only time you'd probably want to do something down below here is like if you're wanting to clip or something like that. So, all right, we're gonna go basically to the side panel, and we're gonna go down to the little book. Okay, so this is the basically not all of, but a lot of your back end stuff. So like what you see here, it says on the side, brands, text, media, audience submissions, right? Well, okay, cool. So what is a brand? So this is gonna be like your text theme, your bubble color. It's gonna be like if stuff applies to the color names and overlays or not. It's just like if base setup for like your nameplates and such. But it could also allow you to have slight differences without changing the nameplates also. Like for example, I might want to just change, like on one show of mine, I might like want this center nameplate, and the other one I might want this bubbled nameplate. And then some of them I want no nameplates whatever. Like for example, I use no nameplates. So it allows you to have this opportunity where you can set a dynamic set across a channel, or like not a channel, an account, and then per channel you can have slight differences that change things. Maybe you want the fonts to all be different, or one of them to have specific different font. And this allows you to do these different things, and we'll go into a little bit later where you can also change it on the fly. So you can actually, like on the fly, you can stay in one Rumble Studio presentation and on the fly change your entire studio to fit another show, so you could have like multiple shows within a same screen. And that's, I'm going that over this because we're going to be talking about how you can decentralize your streaming from the studio. And when I say decentralize your streaming, I mean decentralizing your setup. I know a lot of people run streams on like a single device. There's a lot of people nowadays where they want to like stream from their console, but they want all the fancy stuff. They want the overlays. They want to have the interactions. They want all the other stuff. This will allow you to do that kind of thing. That's still decentralizing your broadcast. If you're broadcasting from your PlayStation somewhere and then picking that up with your computer to then broadcast to Rumble or multicast or something like that, then that's decentralizing the broadcast. And Rumble Studio has the tools to help people do that pretty much immediately off the bat. And that's one of the key things we're going to be going over throughout this thing. So when you start hearing these types of things, that's what we're really talking about. Don't look at it like I'm talking about decentralized, like Bitcoin decentralized or something like that. I'm talking about decentralized as in the word really means like distributing your setup to work across multiple machines or entities. And we'll get into that. All right, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. So continuing on, basically we can set different themes and change them on the fly as we need to. Oh yeah, okay. So I have a note here. It says I need to point out the fact that you can actually adjust a mute status on Rumble Studio. So on here we can actually go in and say, yeah, we want mute status to be seen. I'm not going to say that. And that's something a lot of people kind of miss out on. Oftentimes there's a point where the audience it just seems muted, or they're not sure if they are being muted, like that if they just can't hear anything. And so this would allow you to be able to convey that to your audience very simply, especially with things like StreamYard having mute status showing and stuff, other places being more common. Like this is something people want to see available, And be able to turn this on and off is really nice. So it's not something you're forced to have with. What is up, brosive? I'm glad it's educational and you're finding it educational. Because there's a lot of information coming out today. We're pretty much going over every little thing I can. Okay, so we're going to go over to text. And like this is basically your tickers, banners, little things like that. You can also edit them here, apply them, delete them, add new ones. So I'm going to edit this one. You see we just have text. We can move the position on the screen where that applies, and if we want to scroll or not. Nice. So now media, here's where we're going to be able to add, edit, and delete graphical media mostly, but also sound bits, clips, sound bits and video clips, not overlays. So if you want to do full overlays or something like that, this is not the place for it. Now I will properly go over all the media bits while in the actual studio system. This is kind of like the pre-studio green room. This entire little section, the splash screen thing I'm calling it, you could call it a pre-studio green room. So you can set up what you need here instead of like waiting to do it live. This is one of the features that allows for multiple people to manage a single stream. So if your production manager can come in ahead of time, like for example, my production manager is in the chat, nice. They can come in ahead of time, set stuff up, blah blah blah, do their duty, right? And then on the person doing the actual stream can just go for it. Like for example, one of the things I described in here is I do a lot of my stuff while my production manager handles different backend stuff. And so like I can come in here on my own, set this stuff up, manage things, get it going, do what I like. And then the other backend and stuff like the multicasting and the broadcasting to different places and stuff, my production manager handles on his own. So even Rumble Studio can allow for a multitude of ways to handle how you decentralize that setup. Rather, it's like the individual creator behind the mic is the one doing it, or the individual network behind the creators are the one doing it, or a third party completely hired by someone else doing it. Doesn't matter. It's just options available. And I think that's the greater part with this green room thing is it's not everything, but it's so much that it's nice. Now, I do need to show you some things in here that are kind of important to know. Like you see, I have a lot of stuff in here. So we're going to click edit on something, okay? For example, I have something called low hypno. This is a hypnotic plushie. As you see, the graphic looks kind of weird. It's not showing us the full image. It's only showing us a piece of the image. Important to know. I can tell it that I want this full screened over the entire thing. You see everything else goes away. Boom. That's all I got. That's all I need. Done. But I actually don't want it full screen. I have it set to actually go on the bottom right hand corner. I can move it to the center, the center right, center left, top left, bottom left, whatever. Any combination of these I can do. And it will appear when we go in there. We'll get to see that later, how that works. So this gives me a lot of things I can adjust right here. Like we can rename it right here. And I can go, adding plushie. Low hypno plushie. Save that. Boom. Done. Right there. And it even tells you right here. It even tells you, let me zoom in on that. It even tells you right here where it's going to be located in case you actually hit the wrong button and you look up, oh shit, I need to hit edit that real fast. Guess what? I can hit edit that real fast. Right there. Delete's right next to it. So it simple design. Sure, I can't see the whole image, but I can see enough of what's going on to be understandable what's going on, because I can also change the name as I need. You can't do that for all of these. So we're going to go into sound. Sound, these are the actual file names. So you have to kind of name your file names ahead of time. You have to kind of be creative with how you do stuff. And I'll talk about that again here shortly. So I do want to jump over to video. Because you can see at any time I can click this add new media button. So here I am in media. In the video subsection, I'm going to click add new media. I can add a video, GIF, image, or sound mic. So at any point in time inside these, I can click this button and add one of these at any point in time. Now, the problem is, for example, I uploaded a GIF while in the video section, and I now have this GIF here in front of me. It says GIF. See the file name. Does that even work? Well, guess what? I can hit play and find out. Like, we can just hit play and find out. Now you're noticing an error or issue with this system, and I again, we gotta showing you the good and the bad, right? And as I go away, it goes away. So only if you have room at the bottom are you able, and you see it goes all the way down to the bottom, and then it goes all the way down to the bottom, and then it'll load and load and load and load. And then no matter what I do, I'm never truly going to be able to check these. The only thing I can do is when I hit it is I can see if it actually plays or doesn't play here in the back. I can hit delete, and I can hit edit, and I can close this off. So the buttons I need to press are there. For example, I have recording here.
Blah 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 blah. Test 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 test. Boom.
I can't pause, but I can just close it off. So the audio plays. Obviously, it's working, but the GIF is not working. So if I go back to graphic, I can actually show you that GIF. This one right here that says thank you, and it does work here. So that is something you kind of need to pay attention to. Where are you at in the media section when you upload can affect the media. And I do want to point out that clips that you clip from within Rumble Studio, and a feature I will be talking about later, which is where this soundbite comes from, which is actually a video, this OI recording. Well, this is also automatically plugged in from Rumble Studio from another feature I will be talking about in a second. But also clips should appear in here for you automatically if it's clipped from within Rumble Studio. Good. Here is audience submissions. Okay, that it actually messed up clicking it, but I'm going to actually show you guys. I'm not going to have a link for you for this, but I'm going to show you what people are presented with. First, I was told I had a login. It said, welcome to Zombie, blah, 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 blah. Please log in to continue. I logged in, and this is what I get. So this is what, if you are going to allow your users to submit into your audience thing, which, to be honest, the audience submissions, it just has like an on-off button. There it is. It has an on and off button. I share the link, and then the actual submissions you've received, you can save them, delete them, test them, play them, see how they are, everything. Nice. And this is automatically pulled into the media section. I didn't have to do anything to do that. It just did that for me. Saving it should download to my computer. Good. Good. I do not know if the submission link ever changes. Has not changed on me yet. But we're going to go through it. My thing says, go through it. Rock. Here I am. 3D is my name. I have up to 100 characters. I can assign all these. Now I have to assign something. So let's see if I can assign something. As you can see, my browser does not allow me to continue. So I have audio. Neat. So even if I don't have video or whatever, like you notice I didn't have video. It did not work. I got denied. Still's allowing me to continue. And I can come in here and I can mess with this. Now I think I'm having issues and errors, but this allows you to record up to 60 seconds of audio and or video to then submit to the creator, whomever, whatever, blah blah blah, yellow, purple, green, orange. So back to Rumble Studio. That is what they are going to be presented with. That is what they are giving or being given to be sent to you. So I like to look at it like that is like a answering machine. that allows people to submit stuff to you directly. And one of the things I like about this is because it's a link. That's something you can turn into a QR. Like I have a little image with a QR that allows people to send me one. Like right here, if I click edit, it'll pop up a little bit. This one right here, as you see, it's got like a little graphic of a phone and mic, so it kind of looks like you're leaving a message. And the great thing about that is now cross-platformable. Now, any place I am streaming to, anyone has the ability to then leave me a message as long as they have a Rumble account. Sure, now they might want to sign up if they don't. This is a way to convert your peoples from other non-Rumble places to Rumble. To at least get it where they have an account on Rumble. So if you go down somewhere else, they have another place to find you. They know you're on Rumble now because you're using the system. You're going to see it says Rumble Studio on your screen when you go live. You're going to see a ton of things that's going to say if something happens and I don't see you in X place or YouTube's place or wherever I'm used to seeing you, I know I can find you on Rumble. And that's a great thing for your audience to just kind of know in the back of their mind without you having to even say it. And this audience submission is one of the ways to more seamlessly get people intrigued to convert your Rumble audience over. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. Let me see if I can go back and see where that is at. No, I don't. Okay, now I do. I'm back on this screen, right? So this is the main home screen again. They do have, like, when you first come in, like, I can click this X at any time and get rid of it. But it does have, like, a bunch of extra help stuff in their help center. Really helpful. Actually, some of the tips from today's episode came from their help center, to be dead honest. And campaigns, I think this is almost always up here. I don't know. I haven't clicked the X. I don't know if it's going to go there or not. Campaign button right there to go to your ads. That's pretty freaking handy. Now, I know I'm not going to talk about all the ad stuff. We are going to go over some of that stuff right now. So here's the campaigns. So if you look at the top of the screen, you may not be able to read that. I'm going to zoom in, see if we can help you read this. Moving forward, we are stopping the payment of Twitch and YouTube viewers and the calculation of live studio reads. What we're not talking about. Due to the inability to enforce the pin campaign link on the other platforms required for conversions, you are able to confirm that you can facilitate this. If you can do this, they have a way for you to contact either your success manager or this email to actually be able to have that counted in. So what that means is that some, or I believe all, I don't know for sure. I haven't actually done that. I haven't actually done an ad read for them. But you need to link or pin a comment with the link or anything about the ad in your comment section to all the places you broadcast to that you want them to count. And this is kind of important. Because like there is an API system somewhere that you can actually like link up to and get information returning to Rumble. And I'll kind of explain more of that later. But it just basically points out, I think what this really points out is that for the conversion confirmation of clicks, they want the link pinned in the chat to all the places you go to. And Twitch and YouTube being on top of, like, just the fact that you can get those views counted for your Rumble ad campaign is kind of nice. Something you won't see other places, for sure. So I'm going to go to my script for this because, well, I need to follow some of the stuff. So you can see the instructions and script is right here. Okay, yeah. So you can see instructions and script is right here, and it's really handy to have. You can add it into your script. Now I just hit view details. Boom. Look at this. All right here. Tells me what I need to know down to pretty much every little detail, I believe, so to speak. So it's great for a single person team or multi-person teams. And if you look back at the spot we were just a second ago, it does show you like the minimum viewers you need in order for this to count. and the total maximum that you might be able to make, and also the average, payment per live viewer, with the ad read, pin comp, blah blah blah. You can see that there's a for you for campaigns and a history. So that means the available campaigns are just like most likely site wide or Rumble wide, Rumble Studio wide, while for you is like specifically for you. Nice. And there is a way to set that up. We'll go into it more later. Now I do want to point out this like go to my Rumble wallet thing right here. This button will take you to all of the rest of the ad stuff and monetization stuff that you need to worry about. That button right there will take you directly to where you need to go. And terms of service for all of this stuff is right on the other side, right underneath where your money is valued at. Nice, that's a link. So it does show its current balance last 30 days and last average viewership. Nice. But under the Rumble wallet, there's a lot more stuff there, but that's not Rumble Studio. That's regular Rumble. Okay. Woo! Let me go back to my script. So, okay, now if you look back at the note at the top that we read earlier, it does point out that some platform viewers that you may stream to, like YouTube and Twitch, are not considered for your ad rate payments, which makes sense, unless you're actually able to facilitate the pin comment situation and system that they believe is mandatory for getting paid. Which is nice. It's the fact that they're being clear and upfront about what you need to do to get paid. So you have to pin a link comment to your comment section, and with the ad read or whatever, or the ad read has to be whatever it is. So a QR on the screen may not apply for this, and also the fact that giving an email to contact someone is probably the best place to start for more information than about that specifically. Like does a QR on the screen count or versus pin comment, blah blah blah. But this also brings up again that point I was kind of pointing out earlier. A bunch of stuff that you can do with Rumble Studio that you may need an API for to work right. Which there are sections that will give you that, and we'll have an example later or something. But like for example, I go live with Odyssey, Rumble, YouTube, and Twitch via Rumble Studio. But if I use Stream Elements, I may need to add an API into Rumble Studio, or I may choose to do that through OBS or Streamlabs. But say, for example, I want my views from Odyssey to just appear in the dynamic overlay for Rumble Studio, which we'll, again, show you later. I need to connect an API or a pipeline to Rumble Studio itself, or else it would just show, well, like a negative. It won't actually show a number, or it might show a null in place of actual viewer numbers. So it does still stream to Odyssey. Well, yeah, I mean, it's working, except they just can't get the information to say how many people are viewing. And I've personally tested this without the return APIs to be able to say for sure it cannot see everywhere it goes to what's going on. So there are going to be some of those little ticks there that, unless you actually know how to do the API return, it's just going to always be like that. As long as you double check, make sure you're live there, you're good to go. I do like how, again, Rumble is upfront about a lot of this information, while YouTube is more secretive about this type of information, if they even tell you anything at all. Now we're going to go into the cogwheel, the last bit on the side panel. So okay, this is the basic section. This is like account, icon, display name. And I do like how they give you, like, you see the little thing box beside it, that's just showing you what it's going to look like. I like that, because it then tells you if you like it or not, right? And then you can like edit, save, blah blah blah. And this you can all do like basically with this other thing, the stream redirect overlay, it allows you to put something over in the screen, so when people redirect it, it's not just a black screen or something. They have something to look at. And then we go right below that and we have these stream presets. Now there's not a whole lot here you can really actually change. I can change the 720 or 1080 and at 30 or 60 frames per second. That's it. But the fact that I can change those is more than a lot of places. I would love to see, 4K. I would love to even see, being able to change like the codecs or the frame rate or anything. or being able to change directly width and height specifically. But this is better than nothing, and this is a lot more than what some places actually give you, and it's nice. Basically, you want to have whatever your screen is set up to, you want your stream to be set up to. So if your screen is set up to 60 frames per second, it's best to have your stream set up that so it doesn't look so glitchy. If your screen is 720, you want your stream to be 720, so that way there's less lag between the two. All these things help out. Now, if you look, there is a Manage Destinations button. Let's click it. Okay, so here is Manage Destinations. As you can see, I have, like I said, Rumble, YouTube, Twitch. I have X on here and Odyssey. Of course, I'm not allowed to stream to X because I don't pay for X. But you might be able to. We can just click Add a Destination, and this is kind of the neat part. So, for example, these ones with the logo up here, Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, X, were inside this section originally. And so I just want to show you that they did have some stuff preloaded for me, where I just had to click the button, click OK, blah, 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 and continued on. Right? That's all I had to do. But they also have this custom RMTP created for Odyssey. Boom. Now I can add in my custom output. And this, I really like this because, say for example, you want to use, say for example, I want to go live with 3D Chance Perspectives on my Rumble account information, with my Twitter account, or not Twitter, but my YouTube stuff and all that. I can go live to Rumble Studio, and I could set Rumble Studio to then broadcast my stuff to my production managers' multicast, the way they would multicast. Because they just use an RMTP, so I could set their RMTP in here, and I can broadcast to them through here, and then they could broadcast to all of their stuff. So we can really expand how these really work out and to allow you to chain effect your stuff together. Now for me, I use Rumble Studio as like this main thing, and I'm using Rumble Studio as a hub, like how people use StreamYard and Restream. So this might even be a way to release some stress on your pocket if you're paying for both Rumble and StreamYards, or Rumble and Restream. Maybe you can reduce some of that down. But I'm going to go back to my script for this section because it's quite large. There might be some real tips in here. So I just want to show you that some of the stuff is preloaded, blah, blah. I do use the RMTP, and it does seem to work. So you can just add in your Restream RMTP here for multicasting to do a dynamic casted setup. And where Rumble handles 99% of it, then Restream handles their own bits of it. And so, for example, I'm banned on Facebook, but 3D Change Perspectives is live on Meta. So I couldn't set up my Rumble to use Meta, but the network I go through, Bitcoin Live Digital Broadcasting, can. So I could broadcast to their Restream setup, which then handles all their platforms, and then mine handles mine. And we could basically get us out there even further. Now, in the case that I'm describing, this would be direct competition with myself, so I'm not going to do that. But it's something that is possible. Now, I will want to add this extra note that there is a growing 60 to 90 second delay added for every broadcaster you have to pass through. So, for example, Rumble Studio adds in that. So I'm going from my setup to Rumble Studio, right? That 60 to 90 second delay. So anything that I see Rumble output is 60 to 90 seconds behind it. Okay. And then if we was to then go to another Restream or broadcaster, that's all of the stuff they're going to output is going to be up to 3 minutes behind. It's going to be another 60 to 90 seconds behind. So this could be used in a method where you could have like someone going live to a private channel that is being used or reviewed or looked over by someone else or machine or whatever, and then that's being broadcasted. So basically, if something comes in, they have up to 1 minute to do something, to like hit a button to add in a sound or put an overlay or to blur or whatever, to prevent stuff. So if, like for the one I'm examining, where I might say something that isn't okay for Facebook. Well, we could have someone in the middle, or there could be something in the middle to prevent things that are not allowed on some more censored places. This could be a way to censor that stuff on your own. This allows you to have a buffer between what you're actually doing and what actually gets output, or what you're doing on some places and what happens to other places. So you have access to both studios even at the same time, or if you have a manager, this is 100% possible. The first one goes through the second one, and if all your audio goes through the first one, then you don't have to worry about any kind of additional lag on the second one. You just have to worry about getting that stuff put on within that 60-second limit. Now, this would allow you to be able to up the level of field your shows can give, especially when people find out that if they want to put out the cursing word, they could send their kids to the Facebook or the meta version of a broadcast, and like for example, my kids could watch the meta version of my broadcast, not hear me curse, and then like my friends could go to the Twitter version of the broadcast, hear it all, and then my other friends could go to the Rumble side of the broadcast and interact with it all. I mean, like, tons of different possibilities are available with this feature here. Now, with another feature they offer, I'm gonna basically take the same concept and invert it, expand it, and turn it into its own fourth dimension. Literally. So I need to go back home. Let's click on the house. Here we go. Boom. Alright. Now we're going to go live, or at least set up a room to show you the Rumble rooms. I'm going to set up a studio room. We're going to go and select the template. Now, for example, you don't have to use the templates. You can hit skip. I'm going to use a template to show you what it's like with a template. The only difference is template autofills some stuff you've already predetermined. Skip just leaves it blank for you to fill in all on your own. That's the difference. Great thing about templates though. So, for example, you have different shows. You can set each show to have their own template to autofill the description, to autofill a bunch of things. Like even the placeholder video can be different. Like for example, the placeholder video for this template is different from both other templates. So then I can come into all the templates and add a thumbnail if I want, or if the template already has a thumbnail, it would just fall back onto that. I'm not gonna actually add one. We're just showing you, boom, you can do that. Then add thumbnail. Yeah, it will just bring up the same thing. So we hit the plus or add thumbnail does the same thing. We can change how we're going here. See, since Rumble and Locals work together or are the same thing, they're set up right there side by side. Just hit it. If you have multiple accounts or user accounts, you can change them right here. Real simple and easy. Set up all your secondaries you want to go to. The great thing is, like, I go like this, right? And even though I can't get on X, when I hit the button, it'll say, oh, you weren't able to go on X. And I'll be like, oh, whatever, continue with that X. So that's a great thing, that even if you're not able to go somewhere, it will tell you, hey, I wasn't able to do this. And then you can tell it, well, let's just keep going. Or you say, never mind, cancel everything, let's try again, start over. Now, I can't actually continue on because I need to add in a primary. So before we get there, we can set a stream name. I can edit right here so we can have a template. And now, I need to set in something a little more specific. Oblivion. So does stuff. Oh no. Don't. How about that? Alright, and then we just go behind the curtain. Now this isn't changing my template. This is just changing what I'm going to be using this time. If I go back and do another one, I hit template, all that stuff's going to pop in the way it was like with this one. So we can change all this stuff on the fly as we're doing stuff. So, well, not on the fly, but as we do stuff. Now, I don't need a secondary, but so it has to be something in one of these. But the same thing for the primary, although Secondary, you don't have to have. You have to have a primary. Boom. Now, I can add another destination if I want right now, or I can click more, which I always click more. On YouTube and stuff, I always do a public license. They don't have a public license on here, but they do have a personal license, and that's damn near similar. So if you want to get paid or whatever Rumble license is your way to go. The visibility, again, unlisted, public, or private. Public and unlisted are both public. Private is the only one that's not public, in case you're wondering. Unlisted, just, you need the link to get to it. You may not be able to search it by searching, or find it from searching. Source pass-through. Yes, you can get low latency pass-through. I use this quite often, especially for my gaming streams. A stream like this, we won't need it. Alright, we can still see all of our clips and videos and stuff down here. We can still take peek, still do that kind of stuff. Still within this page. I haven't left this first initial page. I can hit cancel and just not go any further, or I'm going to hit next and go into the actual Rumble room. We're now creating this Rumble room. Let's do it. Now, I don't know if you noticed, it created a little boom, Rumble room right before we came in here. So I'm going to hit, got it, boom. Now, just to look, having problems finding stuff. Okay, cool. Just to show you this can happen, I'm leaving the room. Oh, look, I have an active room. Nice. Enter. Cool. So, you should be able to have more than one room. I haven't actually verified that you can. From the way it's set up, it might be possible. So, be careful with that. At this point, use any multi-broadcaster or any multicast system, you're going to be used to a lot of this. Auto, it will automatically adjust to where everything is based on how many participants you have and all that. If they're hitting like the share screen or anything like that. If you're solo, it's just going to push whoever you click on is going to be popped up individually so they can do their single presentation, broadcast, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Duo allows you to have like a side-by-side thing. Neat. And then presentation has the picture-in-picture. So if you have two participants, you'll have one participant over the other. I'm not entirely too sure how to switch those around, to be honest with you. I'm sure you click on one to just move it to the one that you click on one to turn it into the picture-in-picture. You have multiple participants. It probably just you click one to move one, then click the other, click to move the other. Most likely, I can't guarantee that because I haven't actually tested that. Because I just use presentation mode, and my person here is never being used, so it never pops up. I never worry about it, but totally possible. All right. Anyways, that is basic, and this little video screen that we're looking at is video screen. Once we go live, this will start playing our screen. When I first started doing this stuff, you could pop it out. Sometimes it lets me, sometimes it don't. I actually find it faster to run this with this video popped out. It makes it small, like a picture-in-picture video, and that seems to be the better way. The system runs way smoother that way. So that's kind of nice to know, or to note. Anyways, on the bottom, even though there's a head in the way, you can kind of still see there's mic, camera, share screen, manage participants, audio controls. This is all the basic stuff you'd be expecting. So all my cameras will pop up. Oh wait, you still can't find the cameras. So I can't find my cameras, so it won't pop up anything. Share screen. Now, for example, with share screen, a lot of times it has problems with the audio, and there's a thing in the help section about that, but it's important to know. So there's something else you can do to get around that. So hit manage participants. Here you can have up to 9 people join you. You are one of the 9, in case you're wondering, so up to 8 people can actually join you. Cool. You can either have it set up to where they need to have approval, or they can just, whoever comes in, they get put in as they come in. First 8 wins. So right now I have nobody in my waiting room or anything. I can click copy invite link. Am I supposed to click copy invite link? I think I'm supposed to. Yeah, it just copied it to my thingy, so it doesn't matter. Woo! Nothing to show you there. No worries. Doesn't actually, it just copies it to your clipboard. Nice. Now, I keep messing around with waiting room and active participants, as you're seeing. and host, and I do believe there's like a way to move host or something. I had multiple participants people tell you that. But there's this thing called ingress. Everybody knows what an ingress means. It means to interlace or whatever. If you click create new ingress, and WHIP is what they recommend. I don't recommend this. I recommend RTMP. It's what I use. Give it a name. It doesn't matter. It's just me, whatever. That's going to be the nameplate that appears. And then now I have an RMTP server, and I can just copy these, paste into a broadcaster, and I can like OBS into Restream. Like I can just OBS directly into Rumble Studio as a participant. So it has its own action thing with auto. It can go solo. It can be overlaid. So like I could have a camera on me, and then the game can be its own participant for this picture-in-picture to work flawlessly the way you'd want it to. So this is something that I've never seen anywhere, ever. Ingress is the thing that changed me on Rumble. Because look right here, I'm just going to cancel it. I don't need it. I'll get that ingress. On the fly, create and delete ingresses. So one of the great things I like about this is basically there's a lot of game places out there, a lot of tournament systems, and they're like, oh, we need a way to get 4 people on screen. There you go. You can ingress Rumble Studios into Rumble Studios and groups, and then like basically have them all inside one giant output. You take your entire Discord system and use Rumble ingressing through Rumble ingressing by having one output of Rumble ingress to another Rumble as input, and then chain that along. It's crazy because it's cool. Alright, now on my notes it says I skipped ahead a little bit, but I love that section. I can't get enough of the ingress. Now if we see, it does have a little bit of my stuff is covering live chat. I can click to change, just look at the donations. All is normally clicked on, or the private chat amongst the participants of the Rumble thing. Now this is a chat board, so everything in the chat's going to appear here live and whatnot, and so that's why we can change if I just want to look at the donations or the private or all. And in the when you have dynamics overlay turned on, whichever one you click on here, I believe is what actually appears in the dynamic overlay. I could be wrong. When you have a bunch of stuff because you're live, the other places you can talk to will be here. So for example, you'll have one for all to go to all of them, and I use that to bump bots because, for example, if you get a bot chatter from Twitch or any other place other than even on Rumble, there's no way to block that out. There's no way to say, hey, drop that off, unless you have a modder on that site in that chat room at that point in time for you actively working. There's no way to do it. So I just click all and then type in bump in a bot message or something like that a couple times. And then I go back to Rumble and I'm like, my bad, I had to bump some bots. And then no one seems to care. So even from within Rumble Studio, there is a methodology to handle things. You just have to pay attention to it. Like I said, the all button will only appear if you're multicasting. And none of the places that you can talk to will appear in here until you're actually streaming there. Important to note. Because if you ever like off, like it's not live and you're like, oh no, I can no longer access or talk directly to, well, that's the reason why. So we're going to click and to go into Studio. Boom. Studio. Now you see everything's coming in. I'm going to click this button that says default, and that's going to bring in, and I'm going to click over to go to gaming. We're gaming, bros. We're gaming. We can click to edit this right here on these little the ellipses, like a sideways hamburger button, the brand settings, or just delete that brand completely and go back to default. Default's like the one you can't delete or edit. So default's for the account, and so you can mess with things a little more. Now these little arrows, we can pop these up and down as we want. Now I kind of want to show you some of the stuff. Now, yeah, sure, you don't really want to see what I'm actually, you might not want to see that. Sure. You see how like where it says top center where it's appearing? It says bottom left. Where does it appear? Bottom left. Alright, this says center center. It just says center because it's the center center. Alright. So we can see how these buttons relay what they really mean. I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you so you can get a picture of that. Alright. So we're going to wait a minute. Yep. Okay. Here we go. So for example, my main setup is something like that. So we have these things appearing in different places. You see it. Now, how does all this really work, or why does it work? Remember that image I showed you earlier? I hinted at, it was on GitHub or whatever. This shows you the zones. Now, I got a handful of these pre-made and pre-set up to just kind of show you these zones. So I have them, these are set to a specific size and stuff. All that's again on GitHub. We already showed that earlier. Probably go over it again later. And this just shows you that it will set it up a certain way. But I'm going to click on something else because like this image right here is not the exact same size as like these other ones. It's not the same, but it will appear pretty much in the same spots. You know what I mean? So we can manipulate the way things look on the screen by choosing to stay within a specific size. So there's that one, and if I bring this one back up, and then we're going to overlay these two together, one of them should kind of disappear a little bit. They're almost in the exact same spot. Now if we go further down and bring up the original base B image, now this original base B image and these other two base B images are all three the same size image. But how big the image is within that image makes the difference. Okay. So one of the things that we have is these little things. So as you can see, this goals image is wider than the zone image, and it shows. But it still gets the same amount of approximation. And we're going to now move around on the screen so you can see what that kind of looks like in different spots. Alright, so alright. So it is moving like the right corner of the picture to the right corner when I say right corner. So whatever that spot of the image is at, it's going to move it to that spot. So for example, center, well, top center, we're going to align it to the top of the image, to the center of the image, to the center of the screen, to the top of the screen. And so if you think about it like that, whatever image you make, if you know where you're going to put it on the screen, I'm going to put it in top left, top right. You use that as your point of reference for building the image. And it will make a huge difference overall. So here's another example. Here is this little TikTok thing. I'm going to move it over. It is within the zone. Now here's the original image. It's the exact same size as that little one and the zone. So this is also the same size as the zone image. And we can see it's definitely overtaking the header and the footer of that zone. Let's turn on rumbled hypno. It's a little hypno. It's not low hypno, but it's a little hypno. Now let's turn on low hypno. Move way up here. He's just slightly lower. Exact same size image and all that. So we can manipulate the stuff on the screen quite a bit. See, there's the full-size hit note. So this gives you a lot of opportunity, options, and room. So even with inside like this one section, the center right, where the little thing is right here, I can have multiple things within that zone, but and it'd be just fine. It's still, not messing anything up. Now we're going to go into the dynamic overlay. So you can turn on the live chat, you can turn on the viewership status, and the donation banners. Now I'm going to turn off some of these overlays, kind of help you see what's going on. Because you can't see when you're using this, it will say Rumble Studio in this the zone header of this top left corner, and then the top right zone header has the number of places you're going to, where you're in the viewership numbers, and that's the spot where I was saying like for example the Odyssey one, the chain link one, said that they don't have an image or anything returning, just output something there. It also will just give you a dash. It won't ever give me a number because I don't have an API returning that information for them. So it'll never change. But this also does put chat over your screen. So I created a overlay which has the chat set out for you guys. So this little orange box thing is where the chat appears. It's not very large, so doesn't take up a huge amount of the screen. And they even pay attention to their own zone system. Nice. Because the chat box is kind of within two zones. Top in the middle. Nice. You can see I've worked that around that. I got my stuff, my name and where I'm at, and my website around that. Got a thing on the bottom. I mean, we can mess with stuff. We can also do a full overlay. So now you can't see any of my graphics. You can see the dynamic overlay is going to still be mostly visible, some of the stuff, blah blah blah. But no, you see it pretty much covers the screen. Nice. So you can do stuff like this. Graphic here has a cutout from my head, where my head appears when I play certain games. And so, like for example, I have one without the head cut out, and I have one of these with the head cut out and without the head cut out. It's just another fun little thing. But this just means that we have, like, within Rumble Studio, layers of access. We have, like, think of it like Photoshop. You have different layers you can work on, even within Rumble Studio. So your main system, your screen or whatever, your game, that's one layer. And OBS is another layer, when Rumble is another layer, and this allows you to stack your layers to do some very dynamic outputs. Okay, now here's the video clips. For example, that one GIF that's really messed up. If I click play, and then we remove the overlay, nothing happens. Because we see with the overlay, it will cover over things that are actually playing. I know you hear that. Now let's watch it. Oh, there it is. Now we can see it. So it does overlay these graphics and things like that as well. Now I think it turn this one on and then do this again, show you again. So it's under the overlays over the graphics. And you see my overlay has a spot for the Rumble Studio in the top left corner, the little green blur, and that will do something there. And then it pops off. Now I need to point out, sometimes this studio will mess up, and when you click play, what will happen is you'll get this color highlight over the thing like this, and the numbers will count down, but you won't see anything. You might hear it, sometimes you don't. But if there is a green overlay, even if the numbers are not moving, if one of these has that colored overlay, sometimes green, sometimes yellow, depends on your setup. If it has that little overlay, so you move your mouse off of it and it's still that color or whatever, it is active. It is going to play at some point in time. The second it loads back in, boom, it will play. You need to know that. Huge issue. So when that happens, you'll still see the stop play. Click it. Get rid of that color overlay graphic thing, and then it won't play no more. But for as long as you don't have the loop, it should shut off automatically. Turn on the loop, and it won't. So we'll do one that's like 2 seconds long so you can see it loop through a bunch of times. You know what I mean? And then it just switches. And it just switches. And then it stops. So, very important to know those tiny little flaws in the system. And then we can add in more videos, blah, blah. So, throughout this whole thing, we can add. Now, they have a background thing here, which I think is really neat. Basically, you can have an image that if something happens and something messes up or whatever, like if something's not loading in like an overlay or a video or whatever, this is going to be like your backup call. But at the same time, if you're doing like a panel show or whatever, having this right here brings in a generic graphic across the back that you can use to, you know, like as a background, exactly as it says. It's your furthest point of furthest back. So nice. Now it's got to be an image. Sucks, but it's available. For example, I have one of my overlays set up as my background, so people don't even notice that something's different. Now the audio clips, I'm just gonna click like one of them.
Who's that?
And it just plays. We have it on loop. It's just gonna loop like what? As soon as it stops and loads in the next, it plays. You click off, and then once it's done, we can add in more. Okay. So there you go. That's 99% of what you need to know right there. But we're gonna click on banners because we're in design. Let's go to banners. Here's adding new banners. All the banner stuff right there. So design is everything except for banners. Banners is banners. That's all banners is. So something I do when I'm in design is like I'll close this down, close this down, close this down, and then I'll like flip flop around to be my videos and stuff, right? And then I'll go back to my live chat and I'll go back and hit. I want to talk in Rumble, boo, you know, and just leave it like that. Ooh, go back to just private chat so I don't have to see everything together. See it all together. Nope, just the donations, the private chat, all the chat. Nice. So, campaigns. Remember I said I was going to show you a spot where Rumble basically can tell you what you need, whatever about the app. Here it is. Welcome to Rumble Studio Campaigns. Campaigns will be listed with tasks and estimated earnings. We saw that screen with the ad read and stuff. Once you've accepted a campaign, a timer will start. Follow the instructions to fulfill the requirements. When you've completed your stream, Rumble's team will review the campaign, read, and pay out your earnings. That's kind of neat. Means, like, remember there was some rule, like you had to meet a certain limit or whatever. I get 33 viewers. Boom! I can hit this setup, do my thing, do my ad read, keep going. But a lot of times, I'm pretty sure you probably set this up ahead of time, especially if you know you're going to make it. Because it says they reviewed after the fact. So, nice. I would just be careful how often you do that in manners where you're not sure you're going to get the blah blah blah. Alright. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Looking at my notes, make sure I got everything said so far. Before I move to the next thing. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Clips. Yep. Okay, so one of my notes is you can like having the sponsor thing, right? So this is I'm doing this. What you're seeing pop on and off is happening in OBS. So having this here in OBS and then being able to go into like Rumble Studio and do something similar, right? It does help quite a bit. Meaning like we can separate jobs, we can separate tasks, we can separate machines doing those tasks. So it doesn't have to all rely on a single machine or operating system or anything. And that allows you, because like Rumble's, like studios can take a lot of RAM and hard drive, CPU. So being able to put that on a machine that's just going to be handling that or whatever is going to clean up the stream for the output. And then being able to, like for example, when I do my decentralized gaming broadcast, I get about 5 to 6 frames per second more out of my gameplay. And for me, that's huge because I tend to play at like 15, 20 frames per second. So being able to go another 5, 6 frames is a huge difference in my world. So being able to have the access to separate all this stuff is extremely handy. I have to click this button, but I don't know what all it's going to do. Please don't hit me. Alright, so again, within the stream, I can change stream settings. The name, description, thumbnail, where we're at, adding more destinations. Although I don't know if it will go live to those destinations after you add them in here while you're live. I don't know. I know it will try to do it if you're not live yet, and you click edit, add, blah blah blah, and then save, and then hit go live. Then it will try. Okay, and all your participants pop up down here in the bottom. Oh, it says the edit the banner. So here's, for example, the random banner. You see how it is also under some overlays over some stuff. My thing just wants me to show you how these, it goes, I believe, under graphics. Under graph. So banner is just over the background. And participants. Some participants. Or yeah, participants. It'll be over participants. So that's kind of handy. Alright. Okay. Alright. I'm looking through my notes and I did skip around, so it was pointing out that with the like the videos and stuff, so in here like under graphics, go back to video clips. This issue here with this video clip, it's a GIF, so it's not gonna play it properly. It's trying to play a video when it's a GIF. That ain't ever gonna work, right? Some of those issues or whatever are completely removed when you're in here, because then you just go, oh no, I want to add a video here, boom, and you're adding a video. So I can't even click it and then add a GIF. So those little issues are cleaned up inside this thing. So I kind of wish they would do that inside the other one or whatever, but and I do want to point out that because the issue I was explaining where sometimes the output here, this little output screen, doesn't always work properly. Like I've had times before where it was not moving, but my stream was working perfectly. So sometimes it's helpful to have a visual monitor of your stream. Like for example, I have a phone that I can pull up the stream up when I need to make sure that it's still working when my output display is not working. And it's 1000% helpful for that because I shouldn't have to just rely on this. Like for example, when I'm doing my stuff, whatever, I'll have this screen moved over to the side to where the only thing showing is the chat. So I wish I could pop out this whole little like live chat studio campaigns box out of this. But I do understand why we can't. There's some systems, like some browsers, let you pop out the video, which again, like I said earlier, will allow Rumble Studio work a little bit smoother. It runs faster, it seems like. But also, running Rumble Studio, I've run it on a tablet, a phone, and a computer. It runs better on phone than computer. When I'm on tablet, I run a mobile mode, so it pretends it's a phone. I get I basically get all the full features as desktop, but it's just not fully running on my device. The reason why that works is basically Rumble is doing a bunch of work in the background where they have servers that we're directly talking with. And how much that server does and how much my end does is based kind of on my end. So using a tablet and sending it to mobile to then talk to the Rumble server allows, well, Rumble to handle more of that. Now I do see the streams are visually like smoother when you handle more on your end to fully more decentralize what machine is doing what. And it makes a bit of a difference. So, if you're having problems with your stream, maybe stream to your cell phone. Like have your phone run your Rumble Studio and see if that makes a difference. It did for me. It was weird, but it still worked. Alright. Now that we've basically gone over Rumble Studio, I want to give you this again. That's right. Here is 3D Chance Perspectives GitHub, and here is specifically today's episode's section of the GitHub Rumble overview. Some of the stuff that we saw in today's episode will be available right there for your pleasure. Alright, I do want to talk because by now, you should be way more capable to handle your Rumble Studio. I didn't talk about the fact that you can request static keys, which you do that through the main Rumble account system, not the Rumble Studio system. The fact that you can do other little things with your RMTP, whatnot, that you can't actually do through Rumble Studio, because we covered that in the previous episode. Go check it out. But now you know what buttons do what, where they're at, how stuff overlap, stuff that people question about and wonder that keep them from trying new things. You don't have to know more. You can just push yourself, go further, do more, and have more fun with Rumble Studio. I mean, it has some of the greater methods of RMTP streaming that I've seen in a long time, especially with the ingress. I personally did stream my usual setup like I have right now, going to Rumble to a completely different device. I do decentralize my broadcasting to Rumble Studio, and it has completely made my gameplay a little bit smoother, and it's made my streams even smoother. Best piece of all of this is the monetization Pi or similar. I have access to it, I'm getting stuff, but I'm not fully, I'm not paying for Rumble Studio or Rumble Pro or anything. I'm just trying it. And that's the great thing, is it gives you that free option and that pay option. And both, one just gives you more out of what you're getting from Rumble. Now, it's no guess that when you're ending your stream or whatever, I didn't show it, but when you do end the stream, it does give you the option to end the stream or end the stream and close the room. But before you do any of that, while you're live, let me go back to this thing real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. When you're live, this button, that's the settings button, changes. Okay? Settings button will change to what is then it will look like a stream being split. And if you click that button, it actually gives you the option to close every stream except for Rumble. This allows you to then break away from all the other places and sites and go straight to Rumble only. And I'm not going to lie, Hosty with the Mosty 69 was the first person I ever saw use this feature. It was the first person I ever saw use this to actually convert users to Rumble. This means that Rumble Studio has not one, not two, but like 3 ways to convert your audience. Not only do they allow you to overlay all the different places you're streaming to, including Rumble, on your screen, it tells people you're using Rumble Studio, when they do the audience participation, they're going to be able to see that it's Rumble, sign in with Rumble to then send you, notes, clips, things that you might be able to even play. It gives you further interaction with them that they don't even realize that they're fully doing across different platforms because of stuff like the multi-chat overlay. And then the fact that we have, what was the last thing I was just mentioning? I forgot the last thing I was just mentioning. Yeah, the fifth thing on my hand was the last thing I was just mentioning. But I don't remember. Let me just look. Let me read my notes. Yeah, it's just more options for converting your audience, because the no one wants to just lose audience. You always want to be able to have your audience move with you. It's kind of sounds strange, but if you think about it, like actors do this all the time. They move their audience from one movie to a show to this, that. When they're promoting one thing, they're talking about other things they do. Influencers do it. Everybody really kind of does it. So I do see Rumble as ahead of their times in helping people figure out ways to move their audience to all of their platforms, and kind of giving you 5 things to help you convert your audiences to Rumble. In case you were wondering, I do have a couple more notes. In the last couple of hints. So, can't wait to see you on Rumble Studio, regardless of the system you stream from, because you just stream directly to Rumble with the custom RMTP. So, if your system that doesn't have or allow custom RMTP, there's still a way to do it. Like I said earlier, you can stream to something like Twitch or Twitter, or a private link or unlisted link or something like that, or unlisted video. Something you have to have the link, can't get it any other way. And then you can just use that to then pull up on the screen as the main broadcast or as the share screen, and then you can have everything on a single device, even when it's not fully allowed. One of the last things I want to say is, because I know there's going to be people wanting to know this, the way you raid is / type in the word raid, space, and then the link you want to raid to. And that's how you raid on Rumble. So like I said, 3 last ones. Again, / raid, space, the link to raid to. Okay, it's been a minute since I. Yeah. Alright. Okay. Alright. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay.
separating mind where I'm on makes a bang. Boom goes the blast of thought. Boom goes the last spark with blood. Boom, boom, the mental mind tank. Don't let your perspective hit you on the way out. Don't let your projection. Don't let it stop you when you're down. Don't let the dire distinction stop you from getting excited. So the photons are delighted. Don't hesitate to stop weak. Keep your mind up the hash rate. Let me surmise the time. Submit the rate and rebest the fakes. While we mine our major bags. Grips! Crypto technology like cryptographic money. While hashing your life into a set of QRs, it doesn't matter. Just systems must bring a change.